The Silent Rebellion. The Dominion Empire's massive survey ships hung in Earth's orbit like obsidian daggers against the sky. To any observer, human or alien, Earth appeared thoroughly subjugated, just another conquered world in the vast Dominion collection. Admiral Vexthor, the regional overseer, gazed down at the blue planet from his command deck with 6 pairs of crystalline eyes, satisfied with humanity's apparent submission. But appearances can be deceiving. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility carved into the abyssal plain, Dr. Sarah Chen studied holographic readouts of their latest quantum experiments. The facility, known as Deep Haven, had been built in secret over the past decade using technology that masked its energy signature from Dominion sensors. "Run it again," she ordered, her eyes fixed on the swirling patterns of dark energy that their prototype generator had produced. Behind her, a team of scientists from every corner of the globe worked in focused silence. They represented humanity's greatest minds, officially listed as casualties of the initial Dominion invasion 15 years ago. The generator hummed to life, its crystalline core pulsing with an otherworldly light. Unlike conventional energy sources that the Dominion monitored and regulated, this machine tapped into something far more fundamental, the quantum fabric of space itself. It was technology that, by all rights, humanity shouldn't have been able to develop for another century. But necessity, as always, had proved to be the mother of invention. The breakthrough came on an otherwise unremarkable Tuesday. Dr. Chen's team had been probing the quantum field distortions around their experimental reactor when Dr. Raj Patel, their quantum mechanics specialist, noticed something peculiar in the readings. "Sarah, look at this," he called out, his voice tight with excitement. "The field isn't just bending around the generator. It's resonating with something else. Something deep." Initial scans revealed a massive structure buried 20 kilometers beneath the ocean floor. Its composition was unlike anything they'd ever encountered, a crystalline matrix that seemed to pulse with its own internal energy. More importantly, it was completely invisible to Dominion scanners. The discovery changed everything. Over the next 6 months, they carefully excavated and studied the artifact. It appeared to be a sort of library or database, left behind by a civilization that had vanished long before the Dominion rose to power. The technology was beyond advanced. It was transcendent. But the true revelation came when they discovered why they could interact with it at all. "It's responding to our brainwave patterns," Dr. Elena Santos explained during a secure briefing with what remained of Earth's unified leadership. "Something about human consciousness resonates with the quantum field in a way that's completely unique. The Dominion's rigid, crystalline neural structures can't even perceive these energies, let alone manipulate them." The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't just another conquered species. They were something the Dominion had never encountered before. A species that could perceive and manipulate the quantum substrate of reality itself. They named the artifact Prometheus' Gift, and it became the cornerstone of their resistance. By the end of the first year, they had learned enough to begin development of a prototype quantum core. The technology was a hybrid of the ancient artifact's principles and human innovation. Unlike the brute force approach of Dominion tech, their design worked in harmony with the quantum field, drawing power directly from the fabric of space-time. The hardest part was keeping it all hidden. The Dominion's orbital sensors constantly swept the planet, monitoring for any sign of prohibited technology. Deep Haven's shielding could only mask so much activity. They had several close calls. Once, a Dominion patrol ship passed directly overhead while they were conducting a major test. Dr. Chen ordered an immediate shutdown, and the entire facility held its breath for 3 tense hours as the ship lingered, its sensors probing the ocean depths. But their shielding held, and eventually the patrol moved on. The resistance network grew slowly but steadily. Each new recruit was chosen with extreme care. Scientists, engineers, military specialists. They needed people who could not only keep the secret, but who could think beyond the constraints of conventional physics. Commander James Wilson, formerly of Earth's Space Forces, headed up their security operations. "We're not just building a weapon," he reminded his teams during training. "We're building hope. The first real hope Earth's had since they arrived." The Dominion's grip on Earth remained tight. Their ships patrolled the skies, their governors controlled the major cities, and their technology regulated every aspect of human development. Or so they thought. But in hidden facilities across the globe, humanity was quietly surpassing them. The quantum core technology led to breakthroughs in energy generation, materials science, and propulsion. Each discovery was carefully documented and shared through a secure quantum-encrypted network that the Dominion couldn't detect. The turning point came when they successfully tested the first dark energy pulse generator. Unlike conventional weapons that the Dominion could detect and counter, this technology operated on principles they couldn't even perceive. It was like having a sword in a world where your enemy only knew about clubs. Dr. Chen stood in the main control room of Deep Haven, watching the holographic display of their latest test results. The quantum field manipulations were perfect, elegant in a way that even their best theoretical models hadn't predicted. "We're ready for the next phase," she announced to her team. "Send the signal." Across the globe, other hidden facilities received the quantum-encrypted message. Project Prometheus was about to begin. The construction of humanity's first and only warship, built with technology that defied the laws of physics as the Dominion understood them. The game of cosmic chess had begun. While the Dominion watched the pieces they could see, humanity was quietly positioning their queen for a move that would change the galaxy forever. Project Prometheus. The abandoned uranium mine in the Australian outback seemed an unlikely place to build humanity's most advanced warship, but that was precisely why Commander Wilson had chosen it. The Dominion had dismissed Earth's depleted mineral extraction sites as worthless, never imagining they could be repurposed. 3 kilometers below the red Earth, an army of engineers and technicians worked in carefully orchestrated shifts. The massive cavern they'd hollowed out housed something unprecedented, a shipyard that shouldn't exist. Captain Maya Patel, the woman chosen to command humanity's sole warship, stood on an observation platform overlooking the construction. The ship's quantum alloy hull gleamed under the artificial lights, its surface rippling with subtle patterns that made it difficult to focus on directly. "Beautiful, isn't she?" Dr. Chen appeared beside her, dark circles under her eyes testament to the endless hours she'd been putting in. "We're incorporating everything we learned from the artifact. The hull itself is essentially one massive quantum field manipulator." Maya nodded, her military training helping her mask just how impressed she was. At 300 meters long, the ship was smaller than the Dominion's massive cruisers, but size wasn't what would make it dangerous. "How are we progressing with the weapons integration?" "Better than expected," Chen replied, pulling up a holographic display. "The dark energy pulse generators are fully operational. We've managed to create a targeting system that uses quantum entanglement, no signal emissions for the Dominion to detect. But the real breakthrough is the drive system." The display shifted, showing the ship's revolutionary propulsion system. Unlike the Dominion's brute force approach to faster-than-light travel, which tore holes in spacetime, this engine worked differently. It manipulated the quantum fabric of reality itself, allowing the ship to essentially phase through spacetime rather than pushing against it. "We're calling it the quantum slip drive," Chen explained. "It's not just faster than Dominion FTL. It's completely undetectable to their sensors. As far as their instruments are concerned, the ship simply won't exist while it's in quantum slip." The project was more than just a ship. It was humanity's greatest collaborative effort. Every component represented the pinnacle of human ingenuity combined with insights from the ancient artifact. The quantum core at its heart pulsed with enough energy to power a small city, yet remained invisible to Dominion detection. Security was paramount. The facility's entire crew lived on site, their deaths faked in elaborate accidents or disappearances. Family members received generous anonymous payments but were told nothing. The weight of secrecy was heavy, but the alternative, continued subjugation under the Dominion, was unthinkable. Lieutenant Sarah O'Connor, their quantum communications specialist, was running final tests on the bridge systems when the first major crisis hit. A series of unexplained earthquakes in the region had drawn the attention of a Dominion Geological Survey team. They're deploying deep scanning probes, O'Connor reported, her fingers flying over the quantum-encrypted console. Standard procedure for seismic anomalies. Commander Wilson's response was immediate. Initiate Protocol 0. Everyone to their stations. Throughout the facility, all non-essential systems powered down. The ship's quantum core went into stealth mode, its energy signature dispersing through carefully designed channels in the surrounding rock. 3,000 people held their breath as Dominion probes passed within a kilometer of their location. For 6 tense hours they waited. The only sound was the soft hum of emergency systems and the distant drip of groundwater. Finally, O'Connor broke the silence. Probes are withdrawing. They're flagging this as a natural tectonic event. The close call served as a stark reminder of their situation. They weren't just building a warship. They were staging a rebellion against the most powerful empire the galaxy had ever seen. One mistake, one overlooked detail, and everything would be lost. But the incident also proved something crucial. Their stealth systems worked. Even at close range, the Dominion's advanced sensors couldn't detect them. As the project entered its final phases, they began crew selection and training. Each potential crew member was chosen not just for their skills, but for their ability to think creatively. Traditional military doctrine wouldn't work against the Dominion. They needed people who could utilize their unique technology in ways the enemy wouldn't expect. The ship needed a name. After much discussion, they settled on Prometheus Unbound, a reference both to the artifact that had made it possible and to humanity's imminent break from their chains. Captain Patil assembled her core command crew. Lieutenant O'Connor on communications, Dr. Marcus Wong handling the quantum drive systems, and Major David Chen, no relation to Dr. Chen, as tactical officer. Each had spent months training on simulators, learning to operate technology that rewrote the laws of physics. 2 years after breaking ground, the Prometheus Unbound was ready for its first full systems test. As Captain Patel walked through her ship's corridors for the first time, she felt the weight of history on her shoulders. Everything. The sacrifices, the secrecy, the countless hours of work had led to this moment. In her quarters, she found a small gift from Dr. Chen, a piece of the original artifact, mounted in a simple frame. A note accompanied it, to remind us that we're not the first to challenge the impossible. The next phase would be the riskiest yet, getting the ship out of the facility without detection. But as Paddle studied the swirling quantum patterns in the artifact fragment, she smiled. The Dominion thought they had humanity safely contained and controlled. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The Awakening. The Dominion's annual inspection of Earth was an elaborate dance of deception. While their massive ships prowled the skies, humanity played its assigned role, the compliant, primitive species slowly advancing along approved technological paths. But this year was different. High Admiral Cathax, the Dominion's chief of planetary security, had personally come to oversee the inspection. His flagship, a 15-kilometer Leviathan of crystalline armor and gravitational weapons, cast long shadows over Earth's major cities. In Deep Haven, Dr. Chen watched the feeds with growing concern. They're scanning more thoroughly than usual, she reported to the Emergency Council. The energy patterns suggest they've upgraded their detection systems. The timing couldn't have been worse. In less than 24 hours, they were scheduled to move the Prometheus Unbound from its underground berth. The quantum slip drive was ready, but they'd only get one chance to slip past the Dominion's orbital network. Captain Patel stood at her command station aboard the Prometheus, reviewing final launch preparations when the first anomaly appeared. Lieutenant O'Connor's voice cut through the pre-launch routine. "Captain, we're detecting something strange in the quantum field." The ship's advanced sensors, designed to perceive the quantum substrate of reality, were picking up patterns that shouldn't exist. Complex mathematical sequences rippled through the quantum foam, like code written into the fabric of space-time itself. Dr. Wong, hunched over the quantum drive controls, looked up in amazement. This isn't random. Something's trying to communicate with us. Before anyone could respond, every screen on the bridge flickered. The quantum field distortions coalesced into a form that defied conventional physics, a shifting matrix of light and energy that somehow conveyed the impression of awareness. Messages are flowing in from all over the galaxy, Captain. The Guardian was right. There are resistance movements on at least 30 worlds. They'd been waiting for someone to strike the first blow. The Guardian's presence shimmered through the ship's systems. The Dominion's response is precisely what we anticipated. Their rigid tactical doctrine makes them predictable. Now is the time to demonstrate the true power of quantum warfare. Captain Patel nodded. Signal the other resistance cells. Operation Shatterpoint begins now. Across the galaxy, carefully placed agents activated quantum devices that had been gathering dust in secret caches. The Dominion's seemingly invincible communication network suddenly fragmented as quantum interference disrupted their crystalline transmission arrays. For the first time in centuries, the Empire's iron grip began to weaken. Back in Earth orbit, Kithax's frustration turned to rage as his fleet's coordinated attack dissolved into chaos. Without their command network, each ship was forced to act independently, exactly as the humans had planned. Launch the primary attack sequence, Patel ordered. The Prometheus Unbound's quantum slip drive engaged, and the ship seemed to fade from reality itself. They reappeared in the heart of Kithax's fleet, but to the Dominion sensors, they were still invisible. The ship's quantum weapons activated for the first time in actual combat. Beams of concentrated dark energy lanced out, bypassing the crystalline ship's supposedly impenetrable shields as if they didn't exist. Where they struck, the Dominion vessels simply ceased to be, their molecular structure scattered across quantum space. By the eternal stars, Kithax breathed, watching his mighty fleet crumble before an enemy he couldn't even detect. What have these primitives become? But the Prometheus wasn't fighting alone. From hidden bases across Earth, smaller craft began to emerge. Quantum fighters piloted by Earth's best pilots, using technology that made them virtually untouchable to Dominion weapons. The Guardian's voice resonated through the Prometheus's bridge. Other resistance cells are reporting successful strikes across 16 star systems. The Dominion's grip is weakening, but they will soon adapt. We must press our advantage. Dr. Wong's voice cut through the tactical chatter. Captain, the quantum core is showing unusual readings. I think the Guardian is trying to teach it something new. The ship's systems began to pulse with unprecedented power as the Guardian uploaded knowledge that had been dormant for millennia. The quantum slip drive wasn't just a means of propulsion. It was a way to manipulate reality itself. I'm detecting quantum entanglement signatures from other ships, O'Connor reported with amazement. Not just ours. Dominion vessels, too. The Guardian's showing us how to. She never finished the sentence. Captain Patel watched in awe as her tactical display transformed. She could suddenly see the quantum connections binding the Dominion fleet together, the subtle threads of reality that their technology depended on. Target those connections, the Guardian advised. A quantum chain is only as strong as its weakest link. With surgical precision, the Prometheus began severing the quantum bonds holding the Dominion's fleet together. Ships didn't explode. They simply fell out of formation as their systems lost cohesion. Their mighty weapons reduced to inert crystal. Kithax, watching his invasion force disintegrate, finally understood. These humans hadn't just developed new technology. They discovered a fundamental aspect of reality that the Dominion, for all its power, had never perceived. The battle for Earth became a turning point, but not just for humanity. Across the galaxy, other subjugated species watched and learned. The Dominion wasn't invincible. Their power was based on a limited understanding of the universe's true nature. As the last of Kithax's functioning ships retreated in disarray, Captain Patel allowed herself a small smile. "Send word to all resistance cells," she ordered. "The chains are breaking. Phase 2 begins now." But even as they celebrated their first major victory, a new threat loomed. The Dominion's ruling council would not take this humiliation lightly. They would respond with everything in their arsenal, and humanity would need more than just advanced technology to survive what was coming. The war for freedom had truly begun. Dawn of freedom. The Dominion's response to their defeat at Earth was swift and terrible. Their ruling council, the Crystal Conclave, deployed their reserve fleets, massive armadas that had kept order in the galaxy for millennia. But they were fighting a different kind of war now, one that their crystalline minds struggled to comprehend. The Prometheus Unbound had become a symbol of resistance, appearing seemingly at will across the galaxy, striking at Dominion power centers, before vanishing into quantum space. Each attack taught them more about the true nature of reality, guided by the Guardian's ancient wisdom. Captain Patel stood on her bridge, studying the quantum visualization of the galaxy. Points of light showed where resistance movements had emerged from hiding, each one a beacon of defiance against Dominion rule. "How many worlds have joined us now?" she asked O'Connor. 117 at last count, Captain. The quantum network is growing stronger every day. And there's something else. O'Connor's hands danced across her console. "We're detecting quantum signatures we've never seen before. Something's happening out there in deep space." The Guardian's presence rippled through the ship's systems. "My creators left more than just artifacts. There are places in this galaxy where reality itself has been modified. Places where the quantum realm intersects with normal space. The Dominion's final stronghold lies near one such nexus." Dr. Wong looked up from his station. "The quantum core is detecting massive energy fluctuations from the direction of the Dominion capital. Whatever they're planning, it's big." They soon discovered just how big. The Dominion had begun consuming entire stars, using their energy to power a device that could potentially sever all quantum connections across the galaxy. If they succeeded, every piece of resistance technology would be rendered useless. But the Dominion's desperate gambit had revealed something crucial. The Guardian's creators hadn't just been advanced. They had fundamentally altered the structure of space-time itself, creating a network of quantum tunnels that the Dominion had never detected. "We found their weakness," Captain Patel announced to the assembled fleet commanders, their quantum projections gathered in the Prometheus's conference room. "Their weapon requires perfect synchronization across normal space. But if we can attack through the quantum tunnels..." The plan that emerged was audacious. While the combined resistance fleet engaged the Dominion's armada in normal space, the Prometheus would lead a small strike force through the quantum tunnels, emerging directly inside the capital's defenses. The final battle began in the heart of Dominion space. Thousands of ships clashed in the light of dying stars. But this time, the subjugated species fought with the power of the quantum realm on their side. Reality itself seemed to warp and twist as quantum weapons fire crossed paths with Dominion energy beams. Deep within the quantum tunnels, the Prometheus and its escort fleet navigated pathways that defied conventional physics. The Guardian guided them through the impossible geometry, following maps laid down by his creators eons ago. They emerged into chaos. The Dominion capital world was a crystalline masterpiece, a planet-sized city that had stood as the seat of their power for countless generations. But now it was consuming itself, pouring all its energy into the quantum-severing device. "Their weapon is at 90% charge," Wong reported tensely. "We have minutes at most." Captain Patel's voice was steady as she gave the order. "All ships, commence Operation Quantum Dawn." The Guardian's presence surged through the ship. "I am detecting a pattern. Yes, they don't realize what they've done. In trying to sever quantum connections, they've made themselves vulnerable to them." Understanding dawned across the bridge crew's faces. The Dominion's weapon wasn't just a threat. It was a conduit. By trying to control the quantum realm, they had accidentally opened themselves to its full power. The Prometheus's quantum core pulsed with blinding energy as the Guardian initiated a cascade reaction. Every quantum tunnel in the galaxy resonated in harmony, creating a wave of probability that crashed over the Dominion capital like a tsunami of reality itself. Crystal spires shattered as quantum uncertainty invaded ordered space. The weapon's energy turned back on itself, transforming the rigid structure of Dominion technology into quantum probability clouds. In normal space, the Resistance fleet watched in awe as the capital world seemed to dissolve and reform, its crystalline perfection replaced by something new, a hybrid of normal space and quantum realm that defied description. When it was over, the Dominion's power was broken. Their rigid crystalline technology couldn't function in a universe where quantum uncertainty had been unleashed. But from the ashes of their empire, something new began to emerge. The Guardian's voice echoed across the quantum network. My creators foresaw this day. They knew that eventually, a species would arise that could bridge the gap between normal space and the quantum realm. What happens next is up to you. In the months that followed, a new galactic society took shape. The former subject species, led by humanity's example, began exploring their own connections to the quantum realm. The rigid hierarchies of the Dominion were replaced by a network of quantum-linked worlds, each developing in their own unique way while remaining connected through the fabric of reality itself. Captain Puttle stood in the Prometheus's observation dome, watching distant stars shimmer with quantum possibility. Earth was visible as a blue jewel among them, no longer a hidden rebel world, but a beacon of innovation and freedom. "Where do we go from here?" she asked the Guardian. The AI's response rippled through the quantum field. "That is the greatest gift my creators left, the freedom to choose. The universe is far stranger and more wonderful than even the Dominion imagined. And now, at last, it is free to evolve." As the Prometheus Unbound cruised through the quantum-touched space, its crew couldn't help but feel they were witnessing the dawn of a new age. Humanity had not just broken their chains, they had helped reshape reality itself. And somewhere in the vast quantum depths of space-time, the Guardian's creators smiled, knowing their long wait was finally over. The end.